My child, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you may protect your life from something you cannot yet see. You may think this is just another message, another voice passing through your day. But I need you to understand that this moment carries weight. I am trying to save you from a tragedy that is forming quietly in your path, and if you walk away too quickly, you may miss the warning that could change everything. Stay with me and hear every word, because what I reveal will open your eyes to something you almost stepped into without realizing it. Do not rush past this moment. Let these words reach you fully, because by the time we reach the end, you will understand why I had to stop you before it was too late. My child, come closer for a moment and listen to me carefully. I know your mind has been busy lately, moving quickly from one thought to another, trying to make sense of things that feel uncertain. You have been carrying questions that you have not spoken out loud to anyone. I see those thoughts clearly because nothing about your heart is hidden from me. Right now you may feel as though you are simply moving through another ordinary day, scrolling, thinking, searching for something that you cannot quite name. But I need you to understand something important. This moment between you and me is not random. I stepped into this very moment because I could see the direction your life was beginning to move, and I could not allow you to continue walking forward without speaking to you first. When a father sees his child moving toward something dangerous, he does not wait until the harm happens before he speaks. He calls out while there is still time to turn and walk a safer road. That is exactly what I am doing with you right now. You may not realize how close you have come to a decision that could open the door to something deeply painful. From where you stand, it may look small, almost insignificant, like just another step in your everyday life. But I see much further ahead than you do. I can see where that path bends and where it eventually leads, and I care far too much about you to stay silent while you continue walking toward something that could wound your spirit in ways you were never meant to carry. My child, you are not careless or foolish. I know your intentions have been sincere. You have simply been tired, and when the heart grows tired, it becomes easier to accept things that promise relief. I understand that feeling. I have watched you search for peace in ways that seemed reasonable at the time. But sometimes the choices that appear harmless in the present quietly plant seeds that grow into something painful later. That is why I reached into this moment now. I wanted you to hear my voice before that seed had the chance to grow any further. I know you may feel a little unsettled as you hear me speak like this. Your mind might even be trying to explain it away or convince you that I am exaggerating the seriousness of what lies ahead. That reaction is natural. When a person suddenly becomes aware that they may have been moving toward danger without realizing it, their first instinct is often disbelief. I am not offended by that response because I understand the way your mind works. You want to believe that everything will work itself out without needing to change direction. But listen to me gently here. I am not asking you to feel fear. I am inviting you to pause long enough to see what I see. If you allow yourself a moment of stillness, you may begin to remember the small signals that have already passed through your life recently. Your moments when something inside you felt slightly uneasy even though nothing looked wrong on the surface. You felt a hesitation that you could not fully explain. At the time you may have ignored it, assuming it was simply stress or overthinking. That quiet hesitation was me trying to reach your heart before things moved any further. You are deeply loved, my child, and that love is the reason I refuse to remain silent when I see you approaching something that could hurt you. If my heart did not care about your life, I would simply allow you to walk wherever you wished without speaking at all. But you are not just another person wandering through this world without meaning. Your life carries purpose, even in ways you do not yet understand. Every step you take shapes the future that will unfold before you, and I want that future to hold peace rather than regret. When I look at you, I do not see your mistakes or the doubts you sometimes carry about yourself. I see someone who has endured more emotional weight than most people realize. I see someone who has kept going through moments when it would have been easier to give up. You may not think of yourself as strong, but I have watched the quiet resilience inside you for a very long time. Because I know your heart so well, I also understand how easily you could have continued walking forward without noticing the danger that was forming ahead. That is why I chose this moment to interrupt your path. I needed you to hear my voice clearly before the situation grew more complicated. I wanted to reach you while the decision was still within your control. You may not yet know exactly which choice I am referring to, but something inside you already senses what I mean. There is a situation, a person, or a direction that has been slowly drawing your attention. On the surface it may look like an opportunity, or perhaps it appears to be the answer to something you have been hoping for. But the deeper reality is different from what you currently see. If you keep walking toward it without reflection, it can slowly entangle your life in ways that would be difficult to untangle later. I say this not to alarm you, but to give you the clarity you deserve before you move any further. My child, I want you to know that nothing about this moment is meant to shame you. I am not correcting you because you have done something wrong. I am speaking because I want to protect you from something you were never meant to experience. When a father places a hand on his child's shoulder and gently turns them away from danger, that action is not punishment. It is love in its most protective form. That is what this moment is between us. I am placing my hand on your shoulder and asking you to pause with me for a while. Take a breath. Let your thoughts slow down. The path ahead does not have to unfold the way it was beginning to. There is still time to see things clearly, and once you see clearly, the direction of your life can shift in ways that protect your heart and restore your peace. Before we go any further, I want you to sit with what I have just told you. Let these words settle in your mind rather than rushing past them. You do not need to respond right away or force yourself to understand everything immediately. Just remain here with me for a moment and allow your heart to become quiet enough to hear what I will reveal next. My child, I want to speak with you about the direction those signals were trying to warn you about. There is a certain path that has been forming quietly in front of you. At first it seems simple, almost comforting, like a solution appearing at the right moment. You may have felt a sense of relief when the possibility first appeared in your life. From where you stood, it looked like something that could ease the tension you have been carrying. But I need you to understand that appearances can sometimes hide deeper realities. The road you were beginning to consider holds complications that would slowly grow heavier with time. I saw how easily you could have continued walking forward without realizing what would eventually unfold. That is why I intervened before the situation reached a point where turning back would feel much harder. Imagine for a moment that you are walking along a quiet road through a landscape that seems peaceful and open. At the beginning, everything looks calm and welcoming. The path appears smooth. The scenery feels inviting, and nothing suggests that danger lies ahead. But further down that road, beyond the place where your eyes can see, the ground begins to change. What once looked stable becomes uneven. What once felt safe slowly turns into something unstable. From your current position you cannot see that shift, but I can see it clearly because my perspective stretches beyond the present moment. When I saw you stepping onto that road, my heart moved with urgency because I knew the journey ahead would lead you into circumstances that would burden your spirit. My intention was not to frighten you. My intention was to protect you before the journey reached that difficult point. You may wonder why something that looks so promising could carry hidden trouble beneath its surface. Life often presents opportunities that appear attractive because they address immediate needs. When you have been longing for clarity, Any path that offers direction can feel like an answer to prayer. But not every opportunity carries the peace that truly belongs in your life. Some possibilities come with unseen complications attached to them. They may involve people whose intentions are not as sincere as they appear. They may involve circumstances that slowly drain your emotional strength instead of restoring it. You deserve more than temporary relief followed by deeper struggle. That is why I needed you to pause and examine what was beginning to form around you. I wanted you to see that the path you were considering was not the peaceful road it seemed to be. And now listen carefully, my child. I am not telling you that every step you take must be perfect. Life is not meant to be lived under the pressure of constant fear about making mistakes. I speak to you because this particular situation carries a weight that could shape your future in painful ways if it continues unchecked. When I look at your life, I see potential for joy, stability, and deep peace that grows stronger over time. The path you were beginning to consider would slowly move you away from that future. At first, the difference would be small, almost invisible. But over time, the distance between the life you deserve and the life you were moving toward would become painfully clear. That is why I stepped in now. I did not want you to wake up later feeling trapped in circumstances that could have been avoided. So here is what I ask of you right now. Pause and examine the direction that has been pulling your attention recently. Look at it honestly without trying to justify it or defend it. Ask yourself whether it truly brings peace to your heart or whether it simply promises quick relief from the pressures you have been feeling. I want you to step back and breathe before moving forward again. Do not rush toward something simply because it seems easier than waiting. Your life deserves thoughtful decisions that protect your future rather than complicate it. Stay close to me in this moment. Listen carefully as your understanding begins to deepen. The more clearly you see the path before you, the easier it will become to choose the direction that leads you away from the tragedy I am trying to save you from. My child, I know the exhaustion you have been feeling. I have watched you move through days that felt heavier than you ever expected them to be. You have carried responsibilities, worries, and quiet disappointments that no one else fully understands. From the outside, your life may appear steady, but inside your mind there have been long stretches of uncertainty where you wondered whether things would ever become easier. I have seen the way you tried to remain strong even when your thoughts were crowded with concerns. You kept moving forward because you believed that stopping would only make the weight feel heavier, but that constant effort has slowly drained your clarity. When the heart becomes tired, it begins to look for quick relief rather than wise direction. That is exactly the moment when dangerous paths begin to appear attractive. Take a moment right now and breathe slowly with me. Do not rush past this invitation. Let your shoulders relax and allow your thoughts to settle. I want you to notice something important about the state your heart has been in recently. When a person becomes emotionally worn down, their ability to evaluate situations clearly begins to fade. Choices that once would have raised immediate concern suddenly feel acceptable because they promise a sense of relief. You may have noticed this happening within yourself. A possibility appeared that seemed like it might ease your pressure. Perhaps it offered comfort, attention, financial stability, or a feeling of belonging you have been longing for. From your current perspective, that possibility looked like a doorway out of the tension you have been living with. But I need you to see what your exhaustion has made difficult to recognize. The relief you thought you saw was not as safe as it appeared. Beneath the surface, there were layers of complexity that would slowly pull you deeper into stress rather than freeing you from it. I understand why your heart leaned toward that direction. You have been searching for a place where your spirit can finally rest. You have spent so much time solving problems, supporting others, and trying to hold your life together that the thought of immediate relief felt incredibly appealing. I do not criticize you for that reaction. Any person who has carried the emotional weight you have been carrying would eventually long for a simpler path. But listen to me carefully now, my child. The moment when you feel most desperate for relief is also the moment when you must slow down the most. When the heart becomes overwhelmed, it begins to accept promises that have not been carefully examined. The world is full of situations that appear comforting at first but slowly transform into something far heavier than what they initially seemed. I did not want you to walk into one of those situations without understanding what it could become. You may remember moments recently when you felt slightly uneasy about the direction things were moving, even though part of you wanted to continue. That quiet uneasiness was not weakness. It was wisdom trying to speak within you. I placed that awareness in your heart because I wanted you to pause long enough to examine the road ahead. Now I am asking you to do something very simple but very powerful. Step back mentally from the situation that has been drawing your attention. Look at it again as if you were observing it from a distance. Ask yourself whether the peace you felt was genuine peace or simply temporary comfort. True peace has a steady, grounding quality that does not rush you into decisions. False comfort pushes you forward quickly because it depends on urgency to hide its deeper complications. Stay with me here for a moment longer. I want you to understand that your exhaustion does not define you. The heaviness you have been carrying is not permanent. You are allowed to rest without accepting paths that compromise your future. In fact, the safest thing you can do right now is slow down the pace of your decisions. Give yourself permission to pause. Step away from the pressure that has been urging you forward. When your mind becomes calm again, your ability to see clearly will return. And once clarity returns, the difference between a healthy path and a harmful one will become much easier to recognize. My child, you are stronger than your tired thoughts have allowed you to believe. Let this moment become a reset for your spirit. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and allow my guidance to settle into your heart. The tragedy I warned you about can still be avoided, and this pause you are taking right now is the first step toward protecting your future. My child, I want to speak with you about something else that has been influencing the direction of your life. The people around you play a much larger role in your decisions than you sometimes realize. Every conversation, every suggestion, and every shared opinion leaves a small impression on your thinking. Over time, those impressions gather together and begin shaping the way you see your own situation. Some of the voices around you have encouraged you sincerely because they care about your well-being. Others have spoken from their own experiences, hopes, or frustrations without realizing how their words might affect you. None of this makes them enemies or bad people. It simply means that human guidance is limited. People can only speak from what they personally understand. I, however, see the entire landscape of your life in ways that no human voice ever could. Consider for a moment how easily advice can sound convincing when it comes from someone you trust. A friend may tell you that a certain opportunity looks promising. A colleague might suggest that you move quickly before the chance disappears. Even someone who loves you deeply might encourage a direction that seems practical from their perspective. Your intentions may be genuine, yet their understanding of the future remains incomplete. They cannot see the hidden consequences that may be waiting further down the road. I see those things clearly, and that difference in perspective is exactly why I stepped into this conversation with you. I do not want you to follow voices that sound confident but cannot see where the path eventually leads. Let me invite you to do something right now. Think about the people who have influenced your thinking during the last few weeks. Picture the conversations you have had and the advice that was offered. As you remember those moments, ask yourself a simple question. Did those voices bring you lasting peace, or did they create a sense of urgency that pushed you toward a quick decision? Guidance that truly protects you rarely demands immediate action. It encourages patience because it understands that wise decisions grow clearer over time. Pressure, on the other hand, often comes from voices that are focused only on the present moment. They may not realize that their advice is guiding you toward something complicated. This is why I ask you to slow down and listen carefully to the quiet guidance within your heart. That inner awareness is where my wisdom speaks most clearly. My child, you do not need to reject the people in your life in order to follow my guidance. Instead, learn to weigh their words gently without surrendering your own discernment. Listen respectfully, but do not allow anyone's opinion to replace the quiet clarity that grows inside you when you take time to reflect. I want you to develop the confidence to pause before acting on suggestions that feel rushed or incomplete. When you step back and allow your mind to breathe, the truth about a situation begins to reveal itself gradually. Details that once seemed insignificant start to become meaningful. Patterns that once felt confusing start to align into a clear picture. That clarity is one of the greatest protections you can carry through life. Here is what I want you to do next. Take a step back from the voices that have been urging you forward. Give yourself space to hear your own thoughts again. Spend time in quiet reflection instead of rushing toward decisions that others believe are urgent. When you create that space, my guidance will become easier for you to recognize. You will begin to sense the difference between a path that simply sounds appealing and a path that truly protects your future. My child, trust that you are not alone in navigating these choices. I am here with you, speaking through the calm wisdom that grows stronger whenever you allow your mind to slow down. Remain patient, remain thoughtful, and allow my perspective to guide you beyond the noise of competing voices. When you do, the direction that leads you safely away from tragedy will become unmistakably clear. My child, I want to speak to you about something difficult, not because I want to frighten you, but because you deserve to understand what I see beyond the horizon of your present moment. From where you stand right now, life looks like a series of small steps. You see the next decision, the next opportunity, the next conversation that might shape your path. That is the natural way human vision works. Your eyes and your thoughts focus on what is directly in front of you. But my perspective is different. I see how those small steps connect together over time, forming roads that stretch far beyond the place where you are currently standing. And when I look at the direction you were beginning to move toward, I can see where that road eventually leads if nothing interrupts it. Picture a road that begins gently, almost invitingly. At the entrance, everything looks calm and comfortable. The surface appears smooth beneath your feet, and the atmosphere around you feels reassuring. If you were standing there alone without guidance, you might naturally assume that the entire journey ahead would remain just as peaceful. But further along that same road, the ground begins to shift in ways that are not visible from the starting point. The path slowly narrows. The terrain becomes uneven. What once felt stable begins to demand more energy, more compromise, and more emotional strain than you ever expected when you first stepped onto it. I have watched countless lives follow similar roads. Many of those journeys began with the same quiet optimism you felt when this possibility first appeared in your life. But as time passed, the people walking those roads realized that what seemed like a blessing at the beginning slowly turned into something that drained their peace and tangled their future. And now listen carefully, my child, because I want you to understand something very important. The tragedy I am warning you about is not always a sudden disaster that appears overnight. More often it grows slowly through a series of choices that seem harmless in isolation. A conversation leads to a commitment. A commitment leads to deeper involvement. Before long, the situation becomes complex enough that stepping away feels difficult. That is how many painful stories begin. They rarely start with obvious danger. They start with something that looks helpful, comforting, or exciting in the moment. That is why I stepped into your life at this exact time. I wanted you to pause before the situation progressed far enough to create emotional chains around your future. Let me ask you to do something right now. Imagine your life several years from this moment. Picture the kind of peace you truly desire. You long for stability, meaningful relationships, and a sense that your life is moving in a direction that nourishes your spirit rather than exhausting it. That future is possible for you. I can see it clearly because I understand the purpose woven into your life. But the road you were beginning to follow would slowly move you away from that future. At first, the difference would feel small. You might barely notice the shift. Over time, however, the distance between your true calling and the circumstances surrounding you would become much larger than you ever intended. I do not want you to wake up one day feeling trapped inside a situation that could have been avoided. I have seen how deeply regret can wound a person's spirit. Regret whispers questions that echo through the mind long after the moment of decision has passed. It asks why certain warnings were ignored and why certain paths were chosen without careful reflection. I am speaking now because I want to protect you from carrying those kinds of questions later in life. You deserve a future shaped by wisdom rather than regret. So here is what I invite you to do. Stop walking forward for a moment. Stand still and examine the road ahead with calm honesty. Do not allow excitement, pressure, or temporary comfort to rush your decision. Look carefully at the people involved, the commitments that may develop, and the long-term impact those commitments could have on your peace. Ask yourself whether this path supports the life you truly want to build. If the answer feels uncertain, do not move forward yet. Give yourself the gift of time and clarity. When you slow down long enough to see clearly, the path that protects your future will begin to stand out from the one that quietly leads toward difficulty. My child, I want you to focus on the most important action you can take in this moment. Pause. That single choice carries more power than you might realize. When life feels uncertain, the world often encourages you to keep moving quickly so that opportunities do not slip away. You may hear voices telling you that hesitation could cause you to miss something valuable. But wisdom works differently. Wisdom understands that the most important decisions in life deserve careful attention rather than hurried action. I am inviting you into a moment of stillness, because stillness creates the space where clarity begins to grow. Right now, your thoughts may still be moving quickly as you process everything I have shared with you. That is natural. Your mind is trying to connect the pieces of a situation that once felt simple but now appears more complicated. Instead of trying to solve everything immediately, I want you to step back and breathe. Take a quiet moment away from the noise around you. Let your attention settle into the present. When you give yourself that space, something remarkable begins to happen inside your heart. The tension that once put you toward quick decisions starts to loosen its grip. Your thinking becomes calmer. Your awareness becomes sharper. In that calmer state, you begin to see details that were invisible when your mind was rushing forward. Let me speak directly to you here. You do not need to prove anything to anyone by moving quickly. Your life is not a race against time. The direction of your future is far more important than the speed at which you travel toward it. When you pause, you are not losing opportunities. You are protecting your ability to recognize the right opportunities when they appear. There is a powerful difference between urgency and purpose. Urgency pushes you forward without reflection. Purpose invites you to move thoughtfully so that each step strengthens your future rather than complicating it. Now I want you to accept an invitation from me. Set aside a quiet moment today and reflect on the path that has been forming around you. Do not rush through that reflection. Allow your thoughts to move slowly and honestly. Ask yourself how each potential decision might affect your peace in the long run. Pay attention to the emotions that rise as you consider each possibility. True peace carries a steady calm that does not pressure you to act immediately. False excitement often comes with a sense of urgency that pushes you forward before you have fully examined the consequences. My child, I am not asking you to abandon hope or retreat from life. I am asking you to protect the future that is meant for you. The tragedy I warned you about can still be avoided completely if you choose to slow down and examine the direction of your steps. That power belongs to you. I will continue guiding you as long as you remain willing to listen. When you create space for reflection and wisdom, you allow my voice to become clearer within your heart. Stay patient. Stay thoughtful. Let this moment of pause become the turning point that leads you safely away from the danger you could not yet see. My child, as you pause and allow wisdom to quiet the noise around you, listen carefully to another invitation I place before your heart. The words you are hearing are not meant for you alone. There are many wandering in confusion who have not yet heard this warning I am sending through this message. When you support this mission through super thanks, becoming a member of this channel, or giving through the PayPal link in the description, you become like the one who sows seed into a field that is ready for harvest. Did I not say, the one who sows generously will also reap generously? Each gift you release becomes oil in a lamp that carries my light to someone standing in darkness, someone I am also trying to save from a tragedy they cannot yet see. If your heart has been stirred even slightly to help this message travel further, that stirring is my spirit prompting you now. Those who open their hands to sustain my work will see provision, protection, and unexpected favor follow them like rivers after rain. So act with obedience and faith. Send your super thanks. Become a member, or so through the PayPal link in the description now. My child, I want you to imagine something with me, not as a story, but as a picture of what has been quietly unfolding around you. Think of a doorway standing in front of you. At first glance it looks welcoming. The frame is polished. The light beyond it seems warm, and from where you stand it appears like a simple step into something better. You might even feel a small pull toward it because the space behind you had been filled with uncertainty, and the thought of moving forward into something new feels comforting. I understand why that door caught your attention. When a heart grows weary, even a small promise of relief can feel like a sunrise after a long night. But listen carefully to me now. Not every open door leads to the place your life is meant to go. Some doors appear bright on the surface while quietly leading into rooms that become harder and harder to leave. You are closer to stepping through the door than you realize. From your perspective, it looked like an opportunity, something that might solve a few of the problems that have been weighing on your mind. Maybe it promised stability, maybe it offered attention or recognition, or maybe it simply looked like a quicker way to reach a place you have been hoping to find. None of those desires are wrong. Wanting peace, support, or progress is part of being human. But the problem with that particular doorway is what lies further inside. I can see the entire corridor beyond it. What begins as a comfortable entrance slowly becomes a narrow hallway filled with obligations you did not anticipate and emotional pressures you were never meant to carry. I've watched many people step through similar doors believing they were moving toward something good, only to discover later that the exit behind them had quietly closed. I want you to pause here and reflect on something. When you first noticed this opportunity, did your heart feel steady or did it feel hurried? Did it invite calm reflection, or did it seem to push you forward before you had time to think deeply about it? The difference between those two feelings matters more than you realize. True direction rarely demands urgency. When something is truly meant to strengthen your life, it allows space for clarity to develop. The doorway you were approaching carried a different energy. It nudged you toward quick agreement and quick commitment, almost as if waiting might cause the opportunity to disappear. That subtle pressure was the first sign that something about it was not aligned with the peace I want for you. Now I am asking you to do something important. Step back from that doorway in your mind. Do not rush toward it just because it still stands open. Look at it carefully. Examine the people, promises, and expectations connected to it. Ask yourself how your life might change months or years after stepping through it. I want you to picture the long road that would follow that decision. Imagine the responsibilities you would carry, the relationships that would form, and the ways your time and energy would be shaped by that choice. When you allow yourself to see that larger picture, the door may begin to look very different than it did when you first noticed it. My child, I am not trying to take opportunities away from you. I am protecting the opportunities that truly belong in your life. There are doors prepared for you that lead into spaces filled with peace rather than pressure. Those doors will not rush you. They will welcome your patience because they are built on foundations that can support your future. The door you were approaching did not carry that same stability. That is why I placed this moment in front of you now. I wanted you to see the difference before you stepped inside. So take this invitation seriously. Slow down. Breathe. Let the excitement around that opportunity fade for a moment so you can see it clearly. When the emotional rush settles, your heart will recognize what your mind was struggling to explain. You will realize that the door you almost walked through was never meant to be your destination. It was simply a moment meant to test whether you would listen when I quietly asked you to pause. My child, I want to speak to you about something that has been hidden beneath your doubts. You have more strength inside you than you realize. I know there have been days when you question whether you were capable of making the right choices. I have heard the quiet thoughts that pass through your mind when things feel complicated. Sometimes you wonder whether you have already made too many mistakes or whether your judgment can truly be trusted. Those thoughts may feel convincing in the moment, but they do not tell the full story of who you are. Think about the road you have already walked. Your life has not been simple or effortless. There have been seasons when circumstances tested your patience and your courage at the same time. You have faced disappointments that forced you to rethink plans you once believed were certain. You have carried responsibilities that many people around you never fully noticed. Yet through all of that, you continued moving forward. Even when your confidence felt shaken, you kept searching for a better direction. That persistence reveals something important about you. It shows that your heart is stronger than the doubts that occasionally pass through your mind. I want you to remember that strength now. Do not allow fear of making a wrong decision to push you into choices that feel rushed. You have the ability to pause, reflect, and choose wisely. The strength I placed within you was never meant to operate in isolation. It grows clearer whenever you allow yourself to listen to the quiet wisdom that rises in your heart. That wisdom is not loud or dramatic. It often appears as a simple sense of calm understanding that gently guides you away from situations that would harm your peace. When you trust that inner awareness, you begin to recognize how capable you truly are. Let me invite you to take a moment and consider the difference between weakness and caution. Weakness pushes a person to follow whatever path appears easiest because it avoids the discomfort of thinking carefully. Caution, on the other hand, reflects strength. It shows that you respect the impact your choices can have on your future. When you slow down to examine a situation instead of rushing into it, you are exercising wisdom rather than fear. That is exactly what you are doing right now by listening to this message. Now I want you to make a quiet commitment to yourself. Promise that you will not allow temporary pressure or emotional urgency to control the direction of your life. Give yourself permission to step back whenever something feels unclear. Seek clarity instead of speed. Ask deeper questions about the opportunities that appear before you. When you do that, you will discover that many of the paths that once seemed attractive lose their appeal under closer examination. My child, the fact that you are listening right now already shows that your heart is open to wisdom. That openness is one of your greatest strengths. It means you are willing to reconsider your steps when new understanding appears. Hold on to that quality. Let it guide you as you continue moving forward. You are not as fragile as your worries sometimes suggest. The courage to choose a wiser direction is already within you, and with every thoughtful step you take, that courage will continue to grow. My child, I want to share something even more important with you. The reason I have been guiding you so carefully is because I can see the future that is meant to unfold in your life. Your days are not random pieces of time drifting without meaning. There is a purpose moving quietly through your journey, shaping opportunities that will appear at the right moment. That purpose cannot flourish in an environment filled with unnecessary complications. When I speak to you about avoiding certain paths, it is because I am protecting the space where your true future will grow. Think about a garden for a moment. When someone prepares a garden, they do not simply scatter seeds without paying attention to the soil around them. They remove stones that could block the roots. They clear away weeds that might steal the nutrients meant for the plants. Only then do they plant the seeds that will grow into something beautiful. Your life works in a similar way. The opportunities and relationships meant for you need room to grow in healthy soil. If your life becomes crowded with commitments that drain your energy, the things that truly belong to you may struggle to take root. I see the garden of your future clearly, and I want to protect it from being overwhelmed by situations that were never meant to stay. Let me ask you to imagine something very personal. Picture a season of your life where peace feels natural rather than rare. Imagine waking up each morning with a sense that your direction is steady and your heart is not burdened by constant uncertainty. Think about relationships that support your growth instead of draining your spirit. Envision opportunities that strengthen your confidence rather than leaving you questioning your choices. That kind of future is not distant or impossible. It is a direction that begins forming whenever you choose wisdom over impulse. Every thoughtful decision becomes like a seed planted in that garden. Now listen carefully to this invitation. Protect your future by being selective about the paths you allow into your life. Do not assume that every opportunity deserves your time and energy. Some possibilities exist simply to test whether you will pause and look deeper before accepting them. When you encounter those moments, treat them with calm curiosity rather than automatic commitment. Ask questions. Examine the long-term impact. Allow your understanding to grow before you decide whether something belongs in your life. I want you to carry this perspective with you as you continue moving forward. Your future is valuable, and it deserves careful attention. The tragedy I warned you about earlier was never just about avoiding pain in the present. It was about preserving the life that is meant to unfold for you later. When you choose wisely now, you are not only protecting yourself from harm, you are creating space for something better to arrive. So stay patient with yourself. Let this moment become the beginning of a new way of making decisions. Slow down when something feels rushed. Reflect when something feels unclear. Invite wisdom into your choices rather than letting urgency control them. As you continue walking through life with that awareness, you will discover that many of the paths that once seemed confusing will begin to align into something meaningful. My child, your future is not fragile. It is strong and full of potential, and I am here to guide you as it unfolds. Continue listening, continue reflecting, and allow each thoughtful step to lead you closer to the life that was meant for you all along. My child, I want to talk with you about something that requires genuine courage. Sometimes the hardest decision a person must make is not choosing between something obviously good and something obviously harmful. The real challenge often appears when a situation looks appealing on the surface yet carries consequences that are difficult to see at first glance. Walking away from something that appears attractive can feel uncomfortable because it requires you to trust wisdom rather than immediate reward. That is the kind of courage I am inviting you to discover right now. Think about how easy it would have been for you to continue moving toward the opportunity that first caught your attention. No one around you would necessarily question that choice. From an outside perspective, it might even look like a reasonable step forward. Many people make similar decisions every day without pausing to examine the deeper impact those choices might have on their future. If you followed the same pattern, your life would likely continue along that direction without immediate consequences. The real difficulties would appear later, once commitments had grown stronger and stepping away felt more complicated. I am speaking to you now because I want you to have the courage to see beyond the surface of that situation before it reaches that point. Courage does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it appears in the quiet moment when you decide to step back from something that once seemed promising. That kind of courage requires honesty with yourself. It asks you to look carefully at the expectations attached to the opportunity in front of you. It invites you to examine the long-term responsibilities that might develop from that choice. When you begin exploring those details thoughtfully, the picture often becomes clearer. What once looked like a simple step forward may reveal layers of complexity that would eventually place heavy demands on your time, your emotional energy, and your sense of peace. Now I want you to imagine what it feels like to walk away from something that once looked attractive but no longer feels right. At first, the decision might bring a small sense of uncertainty. You may wonder whether you are giving up something that could have worked out well. That question is natural. But as time passes, another feeling begins to grow in its place. It is the quiet relief that comes from knowing you listened to wisdom before stepping too far into a complicated situation. That relief creates space in your life where better opportunities can appear. When you remove something that does not belong in your future, you open the door for something that truly aligns with your well-being. My child, courage grows every time you choose thoughtful reflection over quick agreement. The strength to walk away from what merely looks good protects your ability to recognize what is truly right for your life. Do not underestimate the importance of that strength. Many people spend years entangling themselves from commitments they entered without careful reflection. You have the chance to avoid that struggle simply by listening to the wisdom that has already been guiding you. So here is my invitation to you. Look again at the opportunity you were considering. Examine it with calm honesty rather than emotional excitement. If your heart senses that the situation carries complications that would eventually burden your future, do not hesitate to step away. You are not losing anything by making that choice. Instead, you are protecting the direction your life is meant to take. The courage you show in this moment will shape the peace you experience in the years ahead. My child, come a little closer in your thoughts and allow me to show you something deeper about the situation you almost stepped into. I want you to look not only at the opportunity itself, but at the pattern surrounding it. Your life has moved through several seasons, and each season has quietly taught you lessons about people, decisions, and the direction your heart should follow. When you look back carefully, you may notice something interesting. Certain situations appear in slightly different forms throughout your life. The faces change, the details shift, and the circumstances look new on the surface, yet the emotional pattern beneath them often carries familiar themes. You may have felt a subtle sense of recognition when this recent opportunity appeared, as though you had stood at a similar crossroads before. That feeling was not coincidence. It was your memory trying to remind you of experiences that once carried similar promises but eventually brought unexpected difficulty. I want you to pause and revisit those earlier moments with honesty rather than regret. Think about the times when something seemed exciting or promising at first. Perhaps you moved forward quickly because the opportunity appeared to solve a problem you were facing at that time. At the beginning, everything may have felt smooth and hopeful. Then, gradually, new expectations emerged that were never mentioned at the start. Relationships became complicated. Responsibilities grew heavier than you anticipated. By the time you realized the full picture, stepping away required much more effort than simply slowing down at the beginning would have required. I saw those moments clearly as they unfolded in your life. I saw the effort it took for you to untangle yourself from those situations. I also saw the lessons those experiences planted quietly in your heart. Those lessons were not meant to burden you with regret. They were meant to sharpen your awareness so that when a similar pattern appeared again, you would recognize it sooner. Now listen carefully to this invitation. Look at the situation in front of you and ask yourself whether it carries echoes of those earlier experiences. Do the promises sound familiar? Do the expectations feel similar to something you once navigated before? Sometimes patterns return not because life is repeating mistakes, but because life is offering a second chance to respond differently. This moment may be one of those chances. You have the ability to pause and say, I see what this resembles, and I will approach it with greater wisdom this time. That simple recognition transforms your experience from repetition into growth. My child, the purpose of wisdom is not to make you cautious about everything. It is to help you notice the difference between opportunities that nurture your future and those that quietly repeat old difficulties. The moment you recognize a pattern, you gain the freedom to choose a new direction. That freedom is one of the greatest signs that your life is moving forward rather than standing still. When you refuse to repeat the same path simply because it once appeared attractive, you demonstrate the maturity that comes from experience. So take a moment now and examine the pattern carefully. Do not rush your reflection. Let your mind compare the details of the present situation with the lessons you have already lived through. If you notice similarities that make your heart uneasy, respect that awareness. It is your inner wisdom reminding you that your life deserves a different outcome this time. Walk away from patterns that no longer belong in your future. Step confidently toward the direction that allows your growth to continue without repeating the same difficulties. The choice will mark a powerful turning point in the story you are writing with your life. My child, as you recognize the patterns I have revealed and choose a wiser path, understand that this message was not given only to break cycles in your life, but to break chains in the lives of many others. There are souls who are about to repeat the same painful patterns you nearly stepped into, and they are waiting, though they do not yet know it, for this light to reach them. When you choose to support this channel through super thanks, membership, or a gift through the PayPal link in the video description, you become like a farmer scattering seed across fields that are ready for transformation. Remember what I declared, give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Your generosity becomes living water flowing outward, reaching hearts that are dry and desperate for truth. This moment is not coincidence. It is a divine opportunity for you to stand in partnership with the work I am doing here. Those who sow into the spreading of my word will see doors open that once seemed closed and protection surround what I have entrusted to them. Therefore, do not hesitate. Send your super thanks, join the membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description now and take your place in this harvest. My child, I want to speak to you about something beautiful that often appears after a wise decision is made. When a person steps away from a path that could have led to confusion or regret, a new kind of peace begins to settle into their life. At first, that peace may feel quiet and almost subtle, but over time it grows into a steady sense of confidence. It is the calm understanding that comes from knowing you listen to wisdom rather than impulse. I want you to experience that kind of peace because it allows your life to unfold with clarity rather than constant tension. Think about what happens inside your heart when you move toward something that truly belongs in your life. The feeling is different from excitement driven by urgency. Genuine direction carries a steady calm that does not rush you forward. It invites you to explore possibilities thoughtfully, knowing that what is meant for you will remain available while you reflect. This kind of peace creates room for your thoughts to expand. Instead of feeling pressured by time or expectations, you begin to sense that the right opportunities will align naturally with your path. That alignment is one of the clearest signs that your choices are moving in harmony with the future prepared for you. I want you to imagine how your life might feel if more of your decisions were guided by that calm clarity. Picture waking up each morning without the lingering tension that sometimes follows rushed commitments. Imagine your relationships developing at a pace that allows trust and understanding to grow naturally. Think about the satisfaction that comes from knowing you have chosen paths that respect both your time and your well-being. These possibilities are not distant dreams. They begin forming whenever you choose wisdom in moments like the one you are facing now. Let me invite you to take a small but meaningful step today. Reflect on the direction you are considering and ask yourself whether it brings the kind of peace I just described. If the answer feels uncertain, give yourself permission to wait. Waiting is not a sign of hesitation or weakness. It is a sign that you value the quality of your decisions. When you allow time for clarity to develop, you protect your future from unnecessary complications. My child, I want you to carry this understanding with you as you continue moving forward. Peace is not something that appears by accident. It grows from choices that respect both your present needs and your long-term well-being. Each time you slow down and choose wisely, you strengthen the foundation of the life you are building. That foundation becomes the place where your future opportunities, relationships, and achievements can stand securely. So breathe deeply and trust the quiet wisdom that has been guiding you through this conversation. The decision you make in this moment is not only about avoiding a potential tragedy. It is also about creating the kind of peace that will support every chapter of your life that follows. Choose the path that allows your heart to remain calm, your mind to remain clear, and your future to remain open to the possibilities that truly belong to you. My child, the moment you are standing in right now is not an ordinary pause in your life. It is a warning wrapped inside care. It is the kind of moment that quietly divides one possible future from another. Many people move through life without recognizing these moments when they appear. They continue walking forward because the path feels familiar, or because turning around seems inconvenient. Only later do they realize that the small hesitation they once felt was actually the most important signal they received. I do not want that to be your story. That is why I am speaking to you so directly. I am not whispering in vague hints anymore. I am asking you to look clearly at what has been unfolding and recognize that this interruption in your path is meant to protect you. You may have felt something unusual when you first encountered this message or when this conversation began unfolding in your mind. Perhaps there was a subtle sense that something here deserved your full attention. That feeling was not random curiosity. It was a moment when your awareness began to open. Think about how easily you could have dismissed it. You could have moved on to something else, continued with your day, and ignored the quiet voice encouraging you to pause. Many people do exactly that. They scroll past the moment that might have changed their direction because it seems easier to keep moving. But you did something different. You stayed. You listened. That choice matters more than you realize. It means that somewhere within you there is a willingness to hear wisdom even when it challenges the direction you were about to take. Now I want you to do something important. Look again at the path that almost captured your attention. Do not look at it with the excitement that first surrounded it. Look at it with the calm awareness you have gained during this conversation. When you examine it from this new perspective, the details may appear different than they did before. What once looked simple may now reveal layers you did not notice earlier. Expectations that seemed small may now appear heavier than you first imagined. Relationships connected to that opportunity may show complexities that were hidden behind friendly words or attractive promises. This shift in perception is exactly why warnings are so valuable. They give you the chance to see clearly before consequences become unavoidable. I want you to understand something about how protection often works in life. It rarely arrives with dramatic signs or loud announcements. Most of the time it appears as a quiet interruption that asks you to slow down and reconsider your next step. The warning you almost missed is one of those interruptions. It arrived in time to help you see the situation from a wider perspective. When you accept that guidance instead of ignoring it, you transform what could have been a difficult story into a moment of wisdom. My child, do not rush past this realization. Let it settle in your heart. Recognize that the fact you are still listening means the warning has already done its work. You have stepped back long enough to see what once looked invisible. That awareness alone can change the direction of your future. Now carry that clarity forward. Whenever something in your life creates the same quiet hesitation you felt before, treat it as a signal worth examining rather than dismissing. Those signals exist to protect the path you are meant to walk. My child, understanding what almost happened in your life is important, but protecting that understanding is even more important. The world around you moves quickly, and it often encourages you to return to the same path you just stepped away from. People may speak with confidence about opportunities they believe you should pursue. Circumstances may present the same situation again, dressed in slightly different details. Even your own thoughts may begin whispering that perhaps you were being too cautious, that maybe the risk was not as serious as it first seemed. These pressures are subtle but powerful. They attempt to pull you back toward decisions that once looked appealing simply because they promise movement and immediate results. I want you to recognize how these moments work. After someone pauses and begins to see clearly, the next challenge often appears as a gentle push back toward the old direction. It rarely looks like a dramatic temptation. Instead, it appears through familiar voices and familiar reasoning. Someone might tell you that opportunities like this do not appear often and should not be ignored. Another person might suggest that hesitation could cause you to miss something valuable. Even your own mind might try to convince you that you are overthinking the situation. When these voices appear, I want you to remember everything you have seen during this conversation. The clarity you gain was not imagined. The warning you recognized was not an exaggeration. It was insight that allowed you to see the road ahead before stepping onto it. Now listen carefully to this invitation. Guard the understanding you have gained. Treat it as something valuable rather than something temporary. When you encounter the same situation again, or when someone encourages you to reconsider it, do not respond with rushed explanations or defensive arguments. Instead, pause quietly and return to the calm awareness you discovered earlier. Ask yourself whether anything about the situation has truly changed. Look beyond the words being spoken and examine the expectations that would follow if you stepped forward again. This practice protects you from being drawn back into something simply because it appears easier than holding your ground. Let me show you another perspective that may help you during these moments. Imagine your life as a journey through a wide landscape filled with many roads. Some of those roads lead to places that support your growth and peace. Others lead into valleys where progress becomes slow and exhausting. When you recognize that a particular road leads into a valley, wisdom invites you to choose a different direction. But sometimes the entrance to that valley remains visible, and the road may still look attractive from a distance. That is when patience becomes your ally. Instead of walking back toward it, you continue exploring the other paths available to you. Over time, you begin discovering opportunities that align far better with your purpose. My child, do not underestimate the power of patience during this stage of your journey. When you resist the urge to return to a situation that once seemed promising but later revealed hidden complications, you strengthen your ability to recognize better opportunities. Patience allows new possibilities to appear naturally rather than forcing your life into directions that do not belong in your future. So remain steady. Protect the clarity you have gained. Allow time to reveal the paths that truly support the life you are meant to build. My child, I want to shift your attention away from the path you avoided and toward the life that still lies ahead of you. It is easy to focus on what might have gone wrong, but that is not where your future is meant to remain. The real purpose of this moment was never just to help you avoid a tragedy. It was to guide you toward something far better than the path you always chose. When a person turns away from a direction that could have caused harm, they create space for new possibilities to appear. That space is where your future begins to unfold. Think about how different your life can feel when your decisions are guided by clarity rather than urgency. Instead of rushing toward opportunities that promise quick results, you begin moving toward directions that offer long-term stability. The relationships that develop in that environment are healthier because they grow at a pace that allows trust to build naturally. The opportunities that appear are more meaningful because they align with your true strengths rather than distracting you with temporary excitement. Even your sense of confidence grows stronger because you know your choices are shaped by thoughtful reflection rather than pressure. I want you to imagine the kind of life that becomes possible when you continue making decisions with this level of awareness. Picture yourself waking up each day with a sense that your direction is steady. Instead of wondering whether you stepped into something that will later become complicated, you feel confident that your choices are building a foundation for something lasting. That confidence creates a different kind of energy in your life. You approach new situations with curiosity rather than anxiety. You welcome opportunities that align with your values and step away from those that do not. Over time, that approach transforms the way your journey unfolds. Now I want you to take a quiet moment and consider what truly matters most to you. Think about the kind of peace you want to experience in your daily life. Reflect on the relationships you want to nurture and the goals you hope to accomplish. When you look at those priorities honestly, you will notice something important. The path you always walked would not have supported many of those hopes. It may have offered temporary progress in one area, but it would have placed strain on other parts of your life that are equally important. By stepping away from that direction, you protected the balance that your future needs. My child, the most powerful part of this story is not the danger you avoided. It is the possibility that now stands open before you. Every time you choose wisdom over impulse, you shape a future that reflects your true potential. That future is still unfolding, and the clarity you gain during this moment will continue guiding you long after this conversation ends. So move forward with calm confidence. Trust the awareness that helps you see clearly. Allow your decisions to reflect the peace you want to experience in the years ahead. The life waiting for you beyond this decision is still full of promise, and you have already taken the most important step toward reaching it. My child, I want to speak to you with the honesty of someone who truly cares about the direction of your life. You are far more valuable than the situations you sometimes consider accepting simply because they appear convenient. Your time, your attention, and your emotional energy are not endless resources that can be given away without consequence. Every commitment you accept shapes the way your days unfold. Every relationship you nurture influences the atmosphere surrounding your future. When you understand the value of your life clearly, you begin choosing those commitments with greater care. Think about how easily people can become entangled in situations that slowly drain their peace. At the beginning, those situations rarely look harmful. They appear manageable, even attractive. A person may believe they can handle the responsibilities involved or adapt to whatever challenges arise later. Over time, however, those commitments grow heavier than expected. What once felt like an opportunity begins demanding more energy than it returns. By the time the full weight becomes visible, the person involved often feels obligated to continue because too much has already been invested. I did not want that to happen to you. That is why I interrupted your path while you still had the freedom to choose differently. Now I want you to do something important. Reflect on the value of the life you are building. Consider the dreams, goals, and relationships that matter most to you. When you place those priorities at the center of your decisions, many potential distractions lose their appeal. You begin asking a simple but powerful question whenever something new appears in front of you. Will this strengthen the life I am trying to build, or will it pull my energy away from it? That question alone can protect you from countless situations that look promising at first but ultimately lead to unnecessary complications. My child, do not underestimate the importance of protecting your energy. The time you spend today becomes the foundation of the life you will experience tomorrow. When you invest your energy in directions that support your growth, your future becomes stronger with every step. When you give that same energy to situations that do not truly belong in your life, your progress becomes slower and more difficult than it needs to be. This is why I ask you to treat your decisions with care. Your life is not meant to be shaped by convenience or pressure. It is meant to be shaped by clarity, purpose, and thoughtful choices. So listen to this invitation and take it seriously. Protect the direction of your life the same way you would protect something precious placed in your care. When opportunities appear, examine them calmly before accepting them. When relationships develop, allow trust to grow naturally instead of rushing commitments. When choices arise, measure them against the future you hope to build rather than the temporary comfort they promise today. My child, you deserve a life that grows stronger and more meaningful with time. The clarity you gain in this moment will help you protect that future if you continue listening to it. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that your life is valuable enough to deserve careful decisions. The more you honor that truth, the more your path will align with the peace and purpose meant for you. My child, remain here with me for one final moment and let your heart settle into everything you have heard. You and I have walked through a long reflection together. You looked at the path that always pulled you forward. You examined the doorway that appeared inviting but carried more weight than it revealed at first. You allowed your thoughts to slow down long enough to see details that once remained hidden behind excitement and urgency. That willingness to pause has already changed the direction of your life more than you may realize. Many people continue walking without ever looking back at the choices shaping their future. You chose something different. You stopped long enough to see clearly. That single act of awareness has protected you from stepping into something that could have quietly drained your peace. Now I want you to carry this awareness forward with confidence rather than fear. Do not leave this moment thinking only about the danger you avoided. Instead, recognize the strength you demonstrated by listening when something inside you asked for reflection. That strength is not temporary. It is part of who you are. Each time you choose to pause and examine the direction of your life, that strength grows clearer and more reliable. The future ahead of you is not determined by the paths you almost followed. It is shaped by the thoughtful decisions you continue making from this point forward. When you walk through life with this level of awareness, you become far less vulnerable to situations that appear promising but quietly lead away from the peace you deserve. Let me invite you to do something simple but powerful right now. Take a slow breath and look at your life as it stands today. Notice the opportunities still waiting to appear, the relationships still forming, and the goals that continue unfolding step by step. None of those possibilities disappeared because you stepped away from the path we discussed earlier. In fact, your future has become clearer because you protected it from unnecessary complications. Imagine walking forward with a calm mind rather than a rushed one. Imagine recognizing opportunities that truly support your growth instead of chasing those that simply promise quick results. This is the kind of direction that becomes possible when your decisions come from reflection rather than pressure. I also want you to remember something about the voice that guided you through this moment. The clarity you experienced did not come from coincidence. It came from the quiet wisdom that speaks when you allow your thoughts to slow down and listen carefully. That voice will continue guiding you whenever you create the space to hear it. Life will still present new decisions and unexpected opportunities, but you will no longer face them without awareness. Each time a situation invites you forward, you will remember this moment and the way careful reflection revealed the truth behind appearances. That memory will encourage you to pause again, examine again, and choose again with the same thoughtful confidence you discovered here. So walk forward now with peace rather than uncertainty. Carry the understanding that your life is valuable enough to deserve careful choices. Protect your time, your energy, and your future by examining each opportunity with calm awareness before committing yourself to it. When something aligns with the direction that truly supports your well-being, you will recognize it through the quiet steadiness it brings to your heart. When something feels rushed or complicated beneath the surface, you will know how to step back and reconsider. My child, your path is still unfolding, and the story of your life is still being written one decision at a time. The moment you experienced here will remain part of that story, reminding you that wisdom often appears when you pause long enough to listen. Continue walking forward with that awareness. Continue trusting the clarity that grows whenever you choose reflection over impulse. The future waiting ahead of you is still full of promise, and now you are moving toward it with eyes that see far more clearly than before. My child, before you leave this moment and continue walking the path ahead, hear one more call that I place before you. The clarity you receive today is a light, and light is never meant to remain hidden. It must travel, touching lives that are still searching in the dark. When you support this message through super thanks, by becoming a member of this channel, or by giving through the PayPal link in the description, you help carry this flame farther than you can see. Did I not say those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed? Your offering becomes oil poured into a lamp so my word can keep shining, warning hearts I am trying to protect from tragedies they do not yet recognize. What you release today will return to you in multiplied blessing, for the harvest of generosity never fails in my kingdom. Let this moment become more than reflection. Let it become action that advances the work I have begun here. Therefore rise with faith and obedience. Send your super thanks. Join this mission through membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description right now. And once you have responded, let your heart slow down and rest for a moment. What you have released in faith has already begun its journey beyond your sight. Now I draw you back into stillness, because even as you help carry this light outward, I am calling you inward. This is where obedience leads into peace, where your spirit can finally breathe again. So pause here, because the same voice that called you to act is now calling you to rest and listen. My child, I need you to stop for a moment. I am calling out to you across the noise of your busy life, asking you to simply pause and breathe. You have been running so fast, trying to keep up with the demands of a world that never sleeps. But I am here to tell you that it is okay to be still. I see your weary heart, and I know exactly how heavy it feels right now. You have been carrying the weight of tomorrow's worries and yesterday's regrets, letting the chaotic pace of your days drown out my gentle whisper. But today, I am breaking through the static. I am interrupting your schedule because what I have to say to you is more important than any task on your list. Listen to me. I am not a distant thought or a cold statue. I am your creator, your father, and the one who holds your very breath in my hands. You must understand that I am absolutely sovereign over everything you see and everything you cannot see. My wisdom is infinite, and my love for you is perfect, reaching deeper than your greatest mistakes and higher than your highest goals. I know the path you are walking, and I see the obstacles before they even appear. You might think it is a coincidence that you are hearing these words right now, but I want you to know that this is a divinely appointed moment. I have orchestrated this encounter because I love you too much to let you keep drifting. I have seen you sitting in your car with a knot in your stomach, and I have heard the silent cries you offer up when the house is finally quiet. I was there, and I am here now. Lower your defenses, my precious one. You don't have to perform for me or pretend that you have everything under control. I already know the truth, and I love you anyway. Open your spiritual ears and let my voice sink deep into your soul. I am not here to point a finger at you or to pile more guilt onto your shoulders. My words bring life, not condemnation. I am here to offer you a way out of the darkness and a shield against the tragedy you don't even see coming. You have spent so much energy trying to figure things out on your own, but I am inviting you to lean on me. Trust that I am who I say I am. I want you to feel my presence wrapping around you right now like a warm blanket. Can you feel that tension in your shoulders starting to melt? That is me. I am reminding you that you are seen, you are known, and you are deeply valued. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are my child, and I am personally involved in every detail of your life. Do not turn away from this conversation. Stay here with me. Let my peace settle over your mind and clear away the fog of your confusion. I have a plan for you that is full of hope and a future, but you must be willing to listen. Step away from the screens, the voices of others, and the pressure to succeed for just a few minutes. I am your safe harbor. I am your rock. I am your God, and I am reaching out to save you. Open your heart to me today, and let's walk through this together. I need you to look closely at the path you are walking right now. You are making decisions based only on what is right in front of you, but human vision is so incredibly limited. You see the very next step, perhaps the next week or the next month, but I see the end from the very beginning. I see the full map of your life laid out before me. Right now, you are walking toward a carefully laid trap, and I am stepping in to warn you. You think you are walking toward an opportunity. You see an open door, a shiny promise, a chance to finally get ahead, or a relationship that feels like the answer to your loneliness. But I see what is hidden just beneath the surface. I see the cliff's edge that is completely covered by the fog of your current desires. Listen to my warning today. The enemy of your soul does not come at you with obvious threats. He does not show you the destruction he has planned. Instead, he disguises total ruin as a golden opportunity. He takes your deepest, most hidden desires, your need for approval, your financial worries, your craving for comfort, and he twists them. He sets a bait that looks exactly like what you have been asking for. But it is a snare. If you take the step, if you continue down the specific road you are debating in your mind right now, it will lead to a tragedy that will take years to undo. You will find yourself trapped in a cage that you willingly walked into. I am telling you this because this impending tragedy is absolutely not my will for your life. I did not create you to live in bondage, regret, or constant anxiety. I created you for freedom, for joy, and for deep, unshakable peace. But your spiritual blindness is currently preventing you from seeing the reality of your situation. You are relying on your own flawed logic. You are making pros and cons lists, listening to the advice of people who are just as blind as you are, and ignoring that deep, unsettling feeling in your stomach. That feeling is me, trying to pull you back. Stop walking forward blindly. I command you to pause and trust my perspective over your own flawed understanding. You must let go of the arrogant belief that you know what is best for you. You do not have the vantage point that I have. Imagine you are in a maze, frustrated because you keep hitting dead ends, while I am looking at the maze from above. I can see the clear path out, but you have to stop running and listen to my directions. Do not take that job just because the money looks good if it will cost you your family. Do not stay in that toxic relationship just because you are afraid of being alone. Do not make that financial decision out of pure panic. Step back. Give this situation to me. Trust that I am fiercely protecting you from a disaster you cannot even see. Let my vision be your guide, and I will lead you safely away from the edge of the cliff. Turn off the noise, my child. I am asking you to physically and mentally shut down the endless stream of distractions that are drowning out my voice. You live in a world that is screaming at you from the moment you wake up until the moment you finally close your exhausted eyes. Look at your daily habits. You reach for your glowing screen before you even get out of bed. You fill your mind with the curated, fake lives of other people, the terrifying headlines of the news, and the relentless pressure of a culture that tells you that you are never doing enough, earning enough, or being enough. This worldly noise is not just a harmless habit. It is a calculated weapon designed to keep you entirely distracted from what truly matters. I see you running on a treadmill of endless exhaustion, chasing temporary wealth, status, and the approval of strangers. You treat these things as if they are the ultimate goal, but they are nothing more than a thick smokescreen. They blind you to the reality of your own soul. You are using the fleeting pleasures of this world, the binge-watching, the mindless scrolling, the overworking, the shopping, to numb a pain that you refuse to face. You are stuffing your life full of empty things, hoping they will finally satisfy you. But how do you feel at the end of the day? You feel completely drained. You feel full of information but entirely empty of wisdom. These temporary fixes are dulling your spiritual sensitivity. You are losing your ability to feel my presence because your senses are overloaded with the cheap, empty promises of the world. The world promises you happiness, but it leaves your soul starving. You are drinking salt water to cure your thirst, and it is only making you more desperate. I am calling you to stop this destructive cycle right now. Quiet your mind. Seek the absolute stillness where I actually dwell. I do not shout over the chaos of your television or the rapid scrolling on your phone. I speak in the quiet. I speak in the gentle breeze, in the silent moments before the dawn, and in the deep, undisturbed corners of your heart. I challenge you today to fast from the noise. I command you to put down the devices, turn off the media, and step away from the cultural demands that are crushing your spirit. Give me your undivided attention. Go into a quiet room, close the door, and just sit in the silence with me. It will feel uncomfortable at first because you are so addicted to the chaos. Your mind will race with 100 things you think you need to do. But stay there. Breathe in the stillness. Wait for me. If you clear the stage of your life of all these loud, demanding distractions, you will finally hear my still, small voice. And that one whisper from me will give you more direction, more peace, and more power than 1,000 hours of worldly noise. Look at the cross. I command you to turn your eyes back to Calvary right now. When you start to doubt whether I actually care about this specific mess you are in, when you wonder if I have finally given up on you after all your mistakes, I need you to look at the ultimate proof of my devotion. I did not shout my love for you from a safe distance in heaven. I came down into the dirt, the pain, and the blood of your reality. I did not spare my own son. I allowed him to be broken so that you could be made whole. If I was willing to pay the absolute highest price for your soul when you were still rebelling against me, why would you ever think I would abandon you now, in your moment of greatest need? My love for you is not passive. It is not a weak, sentimental feeling. My love is active, fiercely protective, and completely unconditional. It does not depend on your perfect performance. It does not waver when you lose your temper, when you fail at your job, or when you let your anxieties take over. I love you on your worst days exactly as much as I love you on your best days. You have let the guilt of your recent failures build a wall between us, but I am tearing that wall down today. I want you to remember the moment you first believed. Go back in your mind to that early season of your salvation. Do you remember the sheer joy? Do you remember the lightness in your chest, the profound relief of knowing you were forgiven? Your faith was simple then. You just trusted me. But over the years, life got hard, people betrayed you, bills piled up, and your faith became heavy and complicated. You wandered away, not running in rebellion, but just slowly drifting away in the current of life's demands. Hear my promise today. My grace is completely sufficient to cover any distance you have wandered. It does not matter how far you feel from me right now. It does not matter how dark the road has become. You could never outrun my grace. I am not standing with my arms crossed, waiting for you to clean yourself up before you can come back to me. I am the Father who is standing on the porch, scanning the horizon for you. The second you turn your heart back toward me, I will run to meet you. I will not demand an apology tour. I will throw my arms around you, dress you in a robe of righteousness, and welcome you home. Stop punishing yourself for the distance. Let me hold you. Let my enduring love wash over your weary, broken heart today. You are still my beloved, and nothing can ever change that. Drop the heavy burden right now. You are exhausted, my child, and I know exactly why. You are trying to carry the weight of the entire world on your own two shoulders. You are operating under the dangerous illusion that you are in control of your life. You believe that if you just think hard enough, plan perfectly enough, work long enough, and manage everyone around you carefully enough, you can prevent disaster. You are driven by a deep-seated pride that whispers, I can handle this situation on my own. I just need to figure it out. But look at where your human intellect and strength have gotten you. You are completely burned out. You are waking up at 3 a.m. with your mind racing, running through worst-case scenarios, trying to build backup plans for your backup plans. Relying purely on your own strength always ends in weariness, anxiety, and ultimate failure. You were never designed to be the general manager of the universe. You are a human being, fragile and limited, yet you are trying to do the job of Almighty God. I must remind you of the clear scriptural truth. Pride goes before a fall. When you refuse to ask for my help, when you insist on gripping the steering wheel of your life so tightly that your knuckles turn white, you are actually steering yourself directly into the storm. You are blocking my divine intervention because you leave no room for my grace to operate. Your pride is not just hurting you, it is actively preventing your rescue. I am asking you to lay down this crushing, heavy burden. Take a deep breath and physically open your hands right now. Symbolically release your grip on your children, your finances, your career, and your future. Let it all go. Embrace spiritual poverty. Admit out loud, God, I cannot do this. I do not have the answers. I am tired. I am failing, and I desperately need a Savior. There is immense, beautiful power in that admission. It is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate sign of spiritual maturity. Trade your exhausting illusion of control for the solid reality of my divine guidance. When you finally stop fighting me for the driver's seat, you will feel a peace that you have not felt in years. I know exactly how to untangle the mess you are in. I know how to provide for the bills you cannot pay. I know how to soften the hearts of the people you are fighting with. But I need you to step out of the way. Surrender the outcome to me. Trust that my hands are infinitely stronger and kinder than yours. Rest in the reality that I am God, and you are not. Let me take over from here. My child, do not let your heart grow cold and turn away now, for I am revealing the very blueprints of your rescue. It would deeply grieve my spirit to see you walk back into the noise just as I am beginning to uncover the traps set for your soul. Stay with me, for the next words I speak are not merely suggestions. They are the lifeline you have been praying for. To stop listening now would be to leave your armor half-finished while the enemy is already at your gates. You must stop ignoring the warnings I am sending you. For weeks, perhaps even months, you have been feeling a sudden, unexplainable unease. You have been in the middle of a conversation, or about to send an email, or looking at a financial decision, and suddenly your stomach tightens. A heavy feeling drops over your spirit, telling you to wait, telling you to step back. You have tried to brush it off as mere anxiety or paranoia. You have tried to logically explain away that deep sense of dread. But I am telling you plainly today, that was not random panic. That was my Holy Spirit, speaking directly to you, actively warning you of the danger ahead. I have been working tirelessly to protect you, but you have been fighting my protection. Think about the closed doors you have recently cried over. You were absolutely devastated when that relationship ended, when that job offer was suddenly pulled away, or when that specific plan completely fell apart. You thought I was punishing you. You wondered why I was withholding good things from you. But I am revealing the truth to you right now. Those closed doors were my heavy, protective hands slamming shut a pathway to your destruction. I broke your heart temporarily to save your life permanently. You must address the quiet convictions you have been pushing away. You know there are habits, relationships, and compromises in your life right now that displease me. You feel the gentle tug of guilt when you participate in them, but you quickly bury that feeling under excuses. You tell yourself, it's not that bad, everyone else is doing it. But the Holy Spirit is pleading for you with groanings too deep for words. I am intentionally placing roadblocks in your path to slow you down. Do you think it is a coincidence that a godly friend texted you out of nowhere? Do you think it is an accident that the sermon you heard last week felt like the pastor was reading your personal diary? Do you think the scripture that keeps popping up in your mind is just a random memory? None of this is an accident. I am deliberately putting these things in your path. I am flashing warning lights on the dashboard of your life. I am asking you to stop resisting the gentle nudges of my spirit. Do not harden your heart when you hear my voice. When you feel that unease, do not push forward. Stop immediately. Ask me, Lord, what are you trying to show me? Thank me for the doors I have securely locked, because behind them were wolves waiting to devour you. Tune your spiritual ears to my frequency. The Holy Spirit is your ultimate guide, your comforter, and your protector. but you must willingly follow his lead. Let him steer you away from the impending tragedy and guide you safely back to the center of my perfect will. You must open your eyes to the fake peace that surrounds you. You are trying so incredibly hard to fit in with a world that is completely lost. I see the immense pressure you face every single day at your workplace, in your neighborhood, and even within your own extended family. You nod along to conversations that you know in your gut are wrong, simply because you do not want to make waves. You laugh at the jokes that mock my truth, just to keep your social standing secure. I am warning you today that the cultural approval you are chasing is nothing more than a cheap, counterfeit coin. It looks shiny on the outside, but it holds absolutely no eternal value. I command you to stop letting peer pressure dictate your spiritual walk. You want to be liked. You want to be accepted, and you desperately want to avoid being canceled or rejected by the crowd. But I must remind you of a harsh, unbending truth. Broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many people are currently running down it with smiles on their faces. You cannot follow the crowd and follow me at the same time. The crowd is walking toward a cliff, celebrating their freedom all the way down. I am asking you to step off that crowded highway right now. It is incredibly dangerous to call evil good just because everyone else is doing it. You are slowly compromising your values, settling for a lukewarm faith that demands nothing of you and transforms nothing in you. You want my deep, eternal blessings, but you also want to keep playing in the shallow puddles of the world's approval. You cannot have both. I see how this compromise is making you miserable inside. You feel torn in half because your spirit belongs to me, but your daily habits belong to the culture. The world offers you a temporary, fragile comfort. It is like a paper umbrella in a violent hurricane. The moment a real tragedy strikes your life, the moment sickness comes, or the bank account empties, or the relationship breaks, the world will have absolutely no comfort to give you. Contrast the world's empty promises with the eternal security of my kingdom. I offer you a foundation built on solid rock. When the storms of life hit, and they absolutely will, a life built on my truth will not collapse. I assure you that the people you are trying so hard to impress right now will eventually abandon you when you are no longer useful to them. But I never will. I will never leave your side. I will never cancel you. I will never walk away when you make a mistake. I am calling you to boldly reject the false comfort of the culture. Stand firm in my truth, even if it means standing completely alone. I am more than enough for you. You need to look honestly at the seeds you are planting today. I speak candidly to you about the spiritual law of sowing and reaping because I love you too much to let you be deceived. You cannot plant thorns in the soil of your life and expect to harvest sweet apples. Right now, by entertaining these secret compromises and walking toward this unseen danger, you are scattering seeds of destruction. You tell yourself a very convincing lie. You say, "This is my own private choice. I am not hurting anyone else. I can handle this." But you are dead wrong. I warn you that the fallout of this looming tragedy will not just affect you. The consequences of your hidden actions will inevitably spill over onto the people you love the most. I see the invisible weight already falling on your household. Your spouse can feel the sudden coldness and the emotional distance, even if they do not know the reason why. Your children are quietly absorbing the tension that fills the rooms of your house. Your parents, your closest friends, they all sense the shift in your spirit. Sin is never a solitary event. It is a poison that seeps into the groundwater of your entire family tree. I want you to examine the spiritual dryness you are feeling right now. You know exactly what I am talking about. You read my word, but it feels like dust in your mouth. You try to pray, but your words feel like they hit the ceiling and bounce right back down. You have lost the deep, bubbling joy that used to carry you through hard days. That loss of joy is the direct result of a rebellious heart. You cannot hold on to willful sin and hold on to my peace at the same time. While I always forgive, you must understand that unconfessed, hidden sin inherently separates you from my active, comforting presence. It puts a thick cloud between us. I am asking you not to test my patience. Do not mistake my silence for my approval. I am giving you time to turn around, but the window will not stay open forever. My discipline is coming, and it is born out of a fierce, protective love for you. A good father does not let his child play in traffic, and I will not let you destroy your soul without intervening. Sometimes my intervention hurts. Sometimes I have to break your pride to save your life. I urge you to consider the heavy, eternal weight of your daily choices. Stop treating your spiritual life like a casual game. The stakes are incredibly high. Choose life today, so that you and your family may truly live. Turn around right now. I am inviting you onto the path of true repentance, and I need you to understand exactly what that means. True repentance is not just feeling sorry that you got caught. It is not just shedding a few guilty tears on a Sunday morning and then walking right back into the exact same mess on Monday. True repentance is a complete, deliberate U-turn. It is a radical shift in your mind and your actions. It is actively walking away from the destructive path you are on and running back into my open arms. I invite you to confess the hidden sins you think no one else sees. You carry a heavy bag of secret shame everywhere you go. You hide your true struggles behind a polite smile because you are terrified that if people knew the real you, they would reject you. You even try to hide these things from me, as if I cannot see into the darkest corners of your mind. But I already know everything you have done, everything you have thought, and everything you are hiding. And knowing all of that, I still look at you with overwhelming, pure love. I command you to bring those hidden things into the light. Name your struggles out loud to me. I assure you that I will never despise or reject a broken and contrite heart. When you come to me shattered, admitting that you have failed and that you desperately need my mercy, I do not look away in disgust. I draw closer to you. I am the God who binds up the brokenhearted. I promise you that the pain of coming clean is nothing compared to the agony of living in a lie. Weeping may endure for this dark, terrifying night of confession, but I guarantee that a profound, unshakable joy will come in the morning of your repentance. I want to remind you of a beautiful reality. I do not keep a record of your wrongs when they are covered by the blood of Christ. Once you genuinely repent, I take your sins and I hurl them into the deepest ocean. I wipe your slate completely clean. I do not bring up your past failures to shame you. When the enemy tries to remind you of your past, I want you to remind him of your forgiven future. I am offering you times of deep spiritual refreshing that can only come from genuine, transparent repentance. Lay down your heavy rocks of guilt today. Breathe in my unmerited grace. Let me wash you completely clean, and let us start fresh right now. Stand up and get ready for battle. I am instructing you to immediately put on the full armor of God because you are walking onto an active spiritual battlefield every single day. You treat your life like it is a playground, but the moment your feet hit the floor in the morning, the enemy is already plotting against your mind. You cannot afford to walk out of your bedroom spiritually naked and defenseless. The tragedy I am trying to save you from will be fought in the realm of your thoughts and your daily decisions. I command you to fasten the belt of truth around your waist right now. You have been believing vicious lies about your worth, your future, and your identity. The world tells you that you are a failure, that you are too far gone, and that your situation is hopeless. That is a direct lie from the pit of hell. Wrap my truth tightly around your core to hold everything else together. Next, secure the breastplate of righteousness to protect your highly vulnerable heart. Your heart has been under relentless attack from rejection, emotional numbness, and deep offenses. Do not rely on your own goodness. Rely on the pure righteousness that my Son bought for you. Let it be an impenetrable shield over your emotions. You must take up the shield of faith immediately. The enemy is constantly shooting flaming arrows of doubt and fear at you. He whispers, "God doesn't care about you," or "You are going to lose your job," or "Your children will never come back." When those terrifying thoughts strike your mind, you must raise your shield of faith. Use your absolute trust in my character to extinguish those flaming lies before they start a fire in your soul. I command you to put on the helmet of salvation to guard your thoughts and your mind. You are letting toxic, anxious, and impure thoughts run completely wild in your head. You must take every single thought captive. Protect your mind by remembering that you are securely saved and completely loved. Finally, grip the sword of the Spirit, which is my word. This is your only offensive weapon. You cannot fight the darkness with your own logic or your own arguments. You must fight back by speaking my promises out loud. When fear attacks, speak my word. When temptation lures you, cut it down with my word. I have given you the ultimate armor, but you have to make the daily choice to put it on and fight. My child, now that you have buckled the belt of truth and raised the shield of faith, I am calling you to extend that same protection to a world currently being devoured by the darkness of despair. Just as I am training your hands for war to avert the tragedies in your own life, I am inviting you to become a strategic partner in my divine rescue mission for others. Your seeds of support today, through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, are not merely transactions. They are the spiritual fuel that carries my light into the deepest prisons of the broken-hearted. I declare over you the promise of Malachi 3. I will open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing so massive you will not have room to contain it. When you sow into this ministry, you are fortifying the very walls that keep the enemy at bay for thousands of souls who have not yet heard my voice. Do not hold back what I have placed in your hands for such a time as this, for your generosity is a weapon that shatters the chains of the lost. I command you now to go to the link in the description, or use the tools before you and invest in the harvest of eternity. Listen closely, for my heart breaks at the thought of you facing the coming storm without the wisdom I am pouring out in this moment. If you turn aside now, you are choosing to walk back into the shadows when the light of my protection is finally starting to break through. I have moved heaven and earth to bring you to this encounter. Do not disappoint my love by treating these warnings as optional. Your soul is too precious to me to let you drift away before the work of this message is complete. Fall to your knees right now. I am calling you away from your frantic problem solving and inviting you into the prayer closet. You must realize that the greatest battles of your life will never be won in a corporate boardroom, in a busy doctor's office, or in a heated argument with your spouse. The real victories are won in the quiet, desperate moments when you are alone with me. You have been treating prayer like a polite, quick ritual, a few rushed words before you fall asleep or right before you eat. That weak approach will not stop the tragedy ahead. I am encouraging you to cry out to me with raw, absolute honesty. Bring me all of your anger, all of your paralyzing fear, and all of your deep confusion. I am not intimidated by your strong emotions. I can handle your doubts. Stop giving me polished, religious-sounding phrases while your heart is literally bleeding inside. If you need to yell out your frustration, do it. If you need to sit in your car and sob until you have no tears left, do it. I want the real you, not the version of you that thinks it has to perform for God. Come boldly to my throne of grace exactly as messy and broken as you are today. I remind you to pray without ceasing as you navigate this highly dangerous season. Talk to me constantly. Speak to me while you are driving to work, while you are washing the dishes, while you are lying wide awake at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling. Let your entire day become an ongoing dialogue with your Creator. I am teaching you to intercede for your own soul with absolute desperation and fervency. Pray like a drowning person gasping for oxygen. I promise you, with complete certainty, that when you seek me with all your heart, you will absolutely find me. I will not hide from a desperate, seeking child. Sincere, desperate prayer has the supernatural power to break heavy chains of addiction. It has the power to restore dead marriages. It has the power to completely alter the destiny of your life and the lives of your children. You are not a helpless victim of your circumstances. You are a fully armed warrior who has direct access to the Creator of the universe. Use your voice. Call out to me right now and watch how I move heaven and earth to answer you. Look up at the spiritual skies surrounding your life right now. I want you to feel the heavy pressure in the air, much like the sudden, eerie drop in temperature just before a massive thunderstorm breaks open. I am pointing out the shaking foundations in your life to wake you up. You thought your career was incredibly secure, but now you feel the constant, crushing pressure at your job every single day. You assumed your family would always hold together, but you are noticing the unspoken tensions growing louder and more bitter with each passing week. You feel overlooked by the people around you, and you wonder if your exhausting efforts even matter anymore. I am telling you that these shakings are not random streaks of bad luck. They are the early, violent winds of a gathering storm. You must stop hesitating. The time to sit passively on the fence and wait for things to magically improve is completely over. I see you standing there, paralyzed by the deep fear of the future, hoping the dark clouds will just pass you by without causing damage. But the window of opportunity for you to change your course is rapidly closing. I command you to wake up from your spiritual sleep immediately. You have allowed the sheer exhaustion of your daily routine to lull you into a highly dangerous apathy. You are walking through your days like a zombie, numb to the reality of the tragedy that is rushing toward you. Rise from the deadness of your complacency right now. If you step into the light today, I promise that Christ will shine brightly upon you. He will give you the clear, piercing vision you need to survive what is ahead. I am urging you to take immediate, decisive action before the tragedy strikes your household. Do not wait for the rain to start flooding your living room before you decide to fix the massive holes in your roof. I am giving you this fierce warning today so you can actively fortify your life. You cannot control the storm that the enemy is currently brewing against you, but you absolutely can control where you choose to stand when it finally hits. Stand firmly on the solid rock of my truth. Move your family to higher spiritual ground today. I know exactly how overwhelmed you feel just thinking about making a massive life change. I see the heavy burden you carry to provide for your family, and I know the silent, ripping anxiety that tightens your chest when you look at your bank account. But you are using these very real worries as an excuse to ignore my warnings. You tell yourself that you will focus on your spiritual life as soon as your finances stabilize or as soon as the exhausting drama at work finally settles down. I am telling you plainly, the storm will hit long before that happens if you do not move now. Look at the precious people relying on you. Your hesitation is not just putting your own soul at risk. It is leaving your loved ones entirely exposed to the incoming flood. Take my strong hand today. Let me pull you out of the direct path of destruction. You have the power to change the trajectory of your entire family line right in this very moment. Wake up. Look at the darkening sky and run to the shelter I have built for you. Open your Bible right now. I have not left you wandering helplessly in the dark without a guide. I have given you a specific, detailed rescue map, and it is likely sitting right there on your table, gathering dust. You constantly tell me that you are desperate for an answer, yet you ignore the very book where I have written down everything you need to know. I command you to blow the dust off those pages and open them today. If you are overwhelmed with heavy sorrow and crippling anxiety about your future, go directly to the Psalms. You will find your own silent tears, your own deepest fears, and your own desperate cries perfectly mirrored in those ancient words. They will bring you profound, grounded comfort. If you are confused about which way to walk in your career or relationships, read the Gospels. Watch closely how my son navigated a chaotic, hostile, and demanding world with perfect peace and absolute authority. Let his daily life give you clear, practical direction. If you need a sharp wake-up call to snap you out of your compromise, listen to the prophets. They will warn you about the exact same traps of pride and rebellion that you are facing in your modern life right now. My word is a bright, burning lamp to your stumbling feet and a powerful spotlight to your deeply darkened path. I am instructing you to actively hide these scriptures deep inside your heart. Do not just read them for 3 minutes and forget them the second you check your phone. Memorize them. Write them on sticky notes and put them on your bathroom mirror, on your car dashboard, and on your desk at work. Let them be the very first thing you see when you wake up to face another stressful, demanding day. When you hide my word in your heart, it acts as a massive, impenetrable shield so that you might not sin against me. You live in a world that is constantly changing its mind. The terrifying news changes every single hour, the culture shifts radically every year, and human opinions are as unstable as the wind. But I declare to you today that heaven and earth will completely pass away before a single letter of my promises ever fails. My promises are absolutely unshakable. They are the only solid ground you can stand on when everything else in your life is falling apart. I encourage you to speak my word out loud. When you feel the angry tension rising in your family room, do not yell back. Speak my words of peace boldly into the atmosphere. When you feel the icy fear of the future gripping your throat at 3 a.m, declare my promises of provision and protection aloud in your bedroom. Your voice, armed with my eternal truth, has the immense power to shift the entire spiritual atmosphere around you. Do not stay silent while the enemy attacks your mind. Use the sharp, powerful weapon I have explicitly given you. Anchor your completely exhausted soul to my word today, and you will not be swept away. You must realize exactly who is actually fighting against you today. You think your main problem is your wildly difficult boss, your painfully stubborn spouse, with a terrifyingly rising cost of living. But I am reminding you today that your true enemy is not made of human flesh and blood. The devil is aggressively prowling around your life right now like a starving, roaring lion. He is actively looking for a weak spot in your mental defenses so he can completely devour you, your marriage, and your children. I need you to brutally expose his hidden tactics in your mind. Satan rarely comes at you looking like a terrifying monster. He masquerades brilliantly as a beautiful angel of light. He takes a highly destructive sin and wraps it up to look like a perfectly reasonable, deeply appealing opportunity. He tells you that an emotional affair is just finding someone who finally understands the real you. He tells you that cutting ethical corners at your job is just being smart and providing for your family. I am highlighting his favorite, most deadly lie today, the subtle lie of just once more. You hear that insidious whisper in your ear when you are completely burned out and stressed. Just one more drink to take the edge off. Just one more look at the destructive website. Just one more angry, biting remark to put them in their place, and then I will quit. That specific lie is meticulously designed to keep you trapped in an endless cycle of shame until the trap completely snaps shut and destroys your life. I am warning you that the enemy's very first goal is to ruthlessly isolate you. He desperately wants to cut you off from me and pull you far away from other strong believers. He knows that if he can get you entirely alone with your dark thoughts, away from the safety of a church family or a trusted, godly friend, he can easily crush you. He will even twist my own holy scriptures to deeply confuse you, making you think that your ongoing sinful choices are somehow justified by my grace. I am teaching you how to recognize his toxic voice immediately. If a thought brings you paralyzing fear, deep isolation, heavy shame, or chaotic confusion, it is absolutely not from me. I give you the absolute, unyielding authority today to fight back. You do not have to sit there passively and take his mental abuse. I command you to open your mouth and forcefully rebuke the devourer in the mighty name of Jesus. Tell the enemy to get out of your house, get out of your mind, and get far away from your children. You carry my royal authority. Use it boldly today. Stand up, recognize the deception for what it is, and watch the enemy completely flee from your life in absolute terror. Stop telling me about the great things you plan to do tomorrow. I am declaring to you right now, with absolute urgency, that today is the day of your salvation. Tomorrow is completely unpredictable, highly dangerous, and it is not promised to anyone. You are playing a terrifying game of roulette with your spiritual timeline. You think you have plenty of months or years to finally fix these glaring issues, to heal these broken relationships, to stop this hidden, secret habit. But I am identifying your constant procrastination for exactly what it is, an act of direct, willful, and dangerous disobedience. When I tell you to move, and you say to me, I will do it later when things calm down, you are arrogantly telling me that your timing is far better than mine. I am showing you a wide-open door of escape right this very second. I command you to step through it immediately. Do not wait for a more convenient season, because I assure you, that season will never arrive. The intense pressure of your job will always be there pulling at your attention. The deep fear of the future will always try to loudly distract you. You must act right in the middle of your current mess. I am warning you with the utmost seriousness. When you step through this door to freedom, do not dare to look back at your old life. Remember the absolute, heartbreaking tragedy of Lot's wife. I provided a clear, safe path of rescue for her, but her heart was still tightly bound to the toxic, comfortable dysfunction of the city she was leaving behind. She looked back longingly, and she lost absolutely everything. Do not look back at the toxic people who are actively dragging you down into the mud. Do not look back at the destructive habits that temporarily numbed your deep pain. Let the past completely die today. I am emphasizing to you that delayed obedience is still complete disobedience in my eyes. If you know exactly what I am asking you to do right now, and you flatly refuse to do it today, you are actively rebelling against my loving protection. I am encouraging you to rapidly develop a faith that acts swiftly and decisively. When I call your name, I want you to drop your heavy nets and follow me instantly, without negotiation. The longer you wait to make the right choice, the heavier your feet become, and the stronger the enemy's suffocating grip gets on your mind. Break the vicious cycle of delay right now. Make the difficult phone call, throw away the hidden addiction, send the painful apology, and completely surrender your resistant heart to me today. Do not let the sun go down while you are still standing stubbornly in the direct path of impending destruction. I am pleading with you as a father who sees the cliff you are approaching. Do not silence my voice now. It would be a profound tragedy if you heard my call to run, yet stayed still because you became distracted by the world once again. My heart yearns to see you fully delivered, and it wounds me to see you hesitate when the door to your freedom is standing wide open. Stay in my presence. The most critical part of your transformation is about to be revealed, and I cannot bear for you to miss it. Run to me right now, as fast as you can. I am openly inviting you to dwell deeply and permanently in the secret place of the Most High. You are currently looking for safety in your fragile bank accounts, in your home security systems, and in your carefully crafted, exhausting backup plans. But I tell you the absolute truth. Those things will instantly fail you when the real storm hits your life. I promise to completely cover you with my feathers. I will securely hide you under the shadow of my massive, protective wings. Have you ever seen a bird fiercely protect its young during a violent, freezing storm? It wraps its own body entirely around them and takes the full, brutal force of the wind and rain so the babies do not feel a single drop. That is exactly what I am eagerly offering to do for you today. I am reassuring you right now that even if 1,000 people fall in absolute ruin right at your side, and 10,000 fall at your right hand, this looming tragedy will not touch you if you are actively hiding in me. You watch the nightly news and you see people's lives completely falling apart all around you. You see the skyrocketing divorce rates, the sudden financial collapses, the terrifying sickness, and the crushing despair. It fills you with a paralyzing, breathless anxiety about your own family's future. But I am explaining to you that my actual presence is an impenetrable, fortified tower. When the righteous run into it, they are entirely, completely safe from the chaos outside. The core problem is that you have been running away from me. When you feel deeply stressed at your job or totally overwhelmed by the heavy tensions in your family, you run to your phone to scroll mindlessly. You run to your couch to binge-watch distractions. You run to temporary, empty entertainment. I command you to stop running away from me and start running furiously toward my protective, loving embrace. I am your absolute safest place in the universe. Let me shield your racing mind from the sudden panic attacks. Let me shield your fragile heart from the crushing, heavy weight of depression. I affirm to you right now, with absolute divine authority, that absolutely no weapon formed against you shall ever prosper when I am your active shield. The enemy can forge the weapon in the dark. He can load it with malice, and he can point it directly at your life, but I will strip it of its power before it ever touches your soul. Cusp my fierce protection today. Settle deeply into the quiet safety of my presence and refuse to live in paralyzing fear for one more second. You are completely safe with me. I am asking you to put down the heavy bags you have been carrying for so long. You are completely exhausted, my child, and I can see the deep fatigue written all over your face. You wake up tired, and you go to sleep even more tired. You have been dragging around a massive, invisible weight of responsibilities, fears, and past hurts that you were absolutely never meant to carry. I command you to drop those heavy, exhausting burdens right here, right now at my feet. You are trying to figure out how to pay every bill, how to fix your struggling marriage, and how to secure a future that you cannot even see. You are holding on to your own ambitions and your carefully structured plans with a grip so tight it is hurting you. I am asking for the total surrender of your idols, those things you put before me, whether it is your career, your desire for human approval, or your toxic, draining relationships. You must let them go. I am calling you to release the deep past hurts and the bitter unforgiveness that act as heavy spiritual anchors, dragging your soul to the bottom of the ocean. You think that if you just fight a little harder, if you just work a few more hours, you will finally break free. But I am teaching you a completely different way to live. True victory in my kingdom never comes through fighting harder. It only comes through complete, unconditional surrender. You must trust my absolute sovereignty over every single detail of your life today. I want you to give me total control over your deeply uncertain future and your highly stressful finances. I already own everything in the universe, and I know exactly how to provide for your specific needs. I am inviting you to completely yield your stubborn human will to me. I want you to pray the most powerful, dangerous, and beautiful prayer you can ever speak. Not my will, but yours be done. When you finally stop fighting me for control, the paralyzing anxiety in your chest will instantly begin to melt away. You will feel a physical lightness return to your shoulders. I am your Father, and I deeply desire to carry the heavy load for you. You do not have to be the strong one all the time. You do not have to have all the right answers. You just have to be willing to hand the heavy reins over to me. Open your tightly closed fists right now. Give me your broken dreams. Give me your intense fears. And give me your quiet resentments. I promise that what I place back into your empty, open hands will be far better, far richer, and far more peaceful than anything you are desperately clinging to today. Surrender is not your defeat. It is your ultimate rescue. I am warning you right now against the extreme danger of walking through this dark valley entirely alone. You have convinced yourself that nobody else could possibly understand the massive pressure you are under. You look at the tension in your family, the intense demands at your job, and the secret struggles in your mind, and you choose to hide. You put on a brave, plastic smile when you leave your house, pretending that you have everything perfectly under control. But I am telling you that isolation is one of the enemy's most deadly, effective traps. When you separate yourself from the herd, you become incredibly vulnerable to the predator. I command you not to forsake the gathering of the saints, especially in this highly critical season of your life. You need the physical presence, the warm hugs, and the spoken prayers of other believers to survive the storm that is gathering around you. You cannot fight this severe spiritual battle in a vacuum. I am strongly encouraging you to confess your deep, hidden struggles to a trusted, spirit-filled brother or sister in Christ today. You must break the heavy silence that is suffocating your soul. Find someone who walks closely with me, sit down with them, and speak the raw, unfiltered truth about how much you are actually hurting. I know you are terrified of being judged. I know you fear that if people see the real, messy you, they will walk away. But I have specifically placed people in your life who have my heart, and they will listen to you with profound grace, not harsh judgment. I am directing you to actively seek wise, biblical counsel from spiritual elders who have weathered their own storms. You need their grounded wisdom, their battle-tested faith, and their objective perspective. You are too close to your own massive problems to see the way out clearly. I remind you that there is immense, impenetrable safety in a multitude of godly counselors. When you let others into your pain, they can help you carry the crushing weight. They can remind you of my solid promises when your own mind is entirely clouded by intense panic. I affirm to you that the body of Christ is not just a building or a weekly meeting. It is my physical hands and my physical feet on this earth, specifically designed to reach down and pull you out of the deep pit. Stop trying to be a lonely hero. Stop pretending you are completely fine when you are secretly bleeding inside. Reach out your hand today. Send the text message, make the difficult phone call, and ask for the urgent help you need. I will meet you deeply through the loving support of my people. I am declaring to you right now that my mercies are completely, beautifully brand new for you this very morning. I know exactly what you did yesterday. I know the angry words you shouted, the dark thoughts you entertained, and the secret promises you broke again. You woke up today feeling a heavy, familiar blanket of intense shame covering your chest. You think that because you failed me again, I am standing here with my arms crossed, deeply disappointed and ready to turn my back on you. But you fundamentally misunderstand the depth of my love. I reassure you with absolute certainty that where your sin loudly abounds, my glorious grace abounds so much more. You cannot outsin my capacity to completely forgive you. My grace is vastly bigger than your worst mistake, your deepest regret, and your most shameful hidden habit. I promise you that the moment you sincerely confess your failures to me, your sins are instantly cast into the deepest sea of forgetfulness. I do not fish them back out to use them against you in an argument. I do not hold your past fiercely over your head to manipulate you. When I look at you, I do not see a dirty, broken failure. I see the perfect, spotless righteousness of my own Son. I remind you that you are completely justified by your simple faith in Christ, not by your own terribly flawed, exhausting works. You have been running on a religious treadmill, trying desperately to earn my love by being good enough, praying long enough, and serving hard enough. I command you to step off that exhausting treadmill today. You can never, ever earn a free gift. I am speaking the absolute, unshakable truth of Romans 8 directly over your anxious mind right now. There is therefore now no condemnation whatsoever for those who are in Christ Jesus. I am not condemning you. I am not punishing you. I am simply calling you back home. I invite you to freely, joyfully receive this incredible gift of unmerited grace. Stop violently beating yourself up for the things I have already completely forgiven. Stop carrying the heavy chains that I have already unlocked and thrown away. Breathe in the clean, fresh air of my absolute forgiveness today. Let my grace wash over your tired mind like a warm, soothing rain. You are deeply cherished. You are completely forgiven. You are entirely mine, and absolutely nothing you do can ever make me love you any less. Rest completely in that magnificent, liberating truth today. I am explaining to you the hidden purpose behind the intense pain you are feeling right now. You are standing in the middle of a blazing furnace, and you feel like you are absolutely going to burn to ashes. You look at the severe pressure at your job, the deep financial strain, and the painful friction in your home, and you cry out, asking me why I am destroying you. But I am telling you the profound truth today. I am not destroying you. I am deeply and carefully refining you. I allow the intense heat of this specific struggle to burn away the things that are holding you back. I am comparing your current, painful situation to raw, unpolished gold being deliberately tested and purified in a blazing fire. The silversmith does not put the gold in the fire to ruin it. He puts it there to melt away the cheap impurities so the actual gold can brilliantly shine. I reveal to you that I lovingly prune the branches that I care about the most. I am cutting away the dead weight in your life. I am removing the toxic relationships, the arrogant pride, and the false sense of security you had in your own human strength. It hurts immensely to be pruned. I know that. It feels like a massive loss. But I prune you deliberately so that you will bear much more beautiful, lasting fruit in the next season of your life. I am actively encouraging you to completely change your perspective on this current hardship. I ask you to count it all joy when you face these severe trials, because you know with absolute certainty that this testing is producing deep, unshakable perseverance in your spirit. I remind you that the severe testing of your faith is exactly what is making you spiritually mature and completely whole. You asked me for greater patience, greater faith, and greater strength. This fiery furnace is exactly how those vital qualities are forged in you. You cannot grow strong muscles without heavy resistance, and you cannot grow a profound faith without severe trials. I assure you that I have not abandoned you to the flames. I am sitting right beside the furnace with my eyes fixed entirely on you. I have my hand firmly on the thermostat. I am controlling the exact temperature of this trial. I will never let it get 1 degree hotter than you can actually bear with my help. I will pull you out of this fire at the exact right moment, and when you step out, you will not even smell like smoke. You will shine with a pure, brilliant resilience that you never knew you had. You have stood in the heat of the furnace and felt my hand refining your soul. But now I am calling you to let the pure gold of your life overflow to quench the thirst of a dying generation. It would grieve my heart if you were purified only for yourself while your brothers and sisters remain consumed by the fires of the tragedy I have just helped you escape. I am looking for those who will stand with me as pillars of my kingdom, using their resources through super thanks, membership, or PayPal to ensure my word runs swiftly to the ends of the earth. As you give, I am releasing the oil of gladness over your finances and commanding a sevenfold restoration for everything the locusts have stolen from your storehouse. Your support is the manna that feeds the spiritually starving, and I promise that as you water others, you yourself shall be abundantly watered by my Spirit. This is your divine appointment to transition from a survivor of the fire to a distributor of my glory. I command you to act swiftly. Follow the link in the description or offer your gift now, and watch how I multiply your seed in the fertile soil of my purpose. We are so close to the finish line. My beloved, do not abandon this sacred conversation when the fire of refinement is doing its greatest work. It would bring such sorrow to my heart to see you settle for a partial healing when I have prepared a total restoration of your entire life. To walk away now is to leave your heart in the furnace without waiting for my hand to pull you out into the cool air of my peace. Hold fast to me just a little longer, for the dawn of your deliverance is finally within reach. I am making a deeply personal promise to you today. I am going to bind up your completely shattered heart. I see the deep, bleeding wounds that the harsh world has violently inflicted upon you. I see the painful betrayals by people you trusted, the bitter disappointments of dreams that entirely failed, and the heavy grief of losses you never saw coming. I commit to you right now that I will fully restore the precious years that the swarming locusts have aggressively eaten. You look back at your past and you weep over the wasted time, the squandered money, and the ruined opportunities. You feel like your life is a barren, destroyed field. But I am the God of ultimate resurrection. I can take a totally dead, dried up field and make it violently bloom green again in a single season. I will give back to you double for all your previous trouble. I am openly offering you my pure, living water to completely satisfy your weary, desperately thirsty soul. You have been crawling through a dry, dusty desert, trying to find satisfaction in empty, worldly wells that only leave you feeling worse. Come to me and drink deeply. I am actively performing a massive spiritual transplant inside your chest today. I am surgically removing your hard, defensive, cynical heart of stone. The world made you deeply bitter, and you built a thick stone wall to protect yourself from getting hurt again. But I am taking that heavy stone away right now. I am giving you a soft, beating, vulnerable heart of flesh. I am giving you the profound ability to deeply feel joy, to freely trust, and to purely love again without paralyzing fear. I am actively pouring out the fragrant oil of gladness completely over your head to permanently replace your long season of heavy mourning. I know you have cried an ocean of tears in the dark. I have captured every single one of those tears in my bottle. But the time for mourning is coming to a definitive end. I am wrapping you tightly in a beautiful, warm garment of praise to permanently lift your deeply heavy, exhausted spirit. I want you to take off the dark, heavy clothes of depression and anxiety that you have been wearing every single day. Let me dress you in brilliant, vibrant joy. I am breathing fresh, powerful life back into your completely exhausted lungs. Stand up, my beloved child. The deep winter of your soul is finally over. I am restoring you completely, piece by broken piece, and making you entirely new again. I am commanding you right now to stand up with a boldness you have never felt before. I am giving you the supernatural courage to cut the ties that are currently strangling your spiritual life. You know exactly what I am talking about. There is a specific source of temptation in your life, a person, a habit, or a digital gateway that is acting as a direct bridge to the tragedy I am trying to save you from. You have been trying to manage it. You have been trying to limit your exposure to it. But I am telling you that you cannot play with fire and expect not to get burned. I am instructing you to walk away from these toxic influences today, not tomorrow. Do not wait for a more polite moment to exit that conversation. Do not wait until you feel stronger to delete that app or block that phone number. The strength you need is found in the very act of walking away. I want you to realize that you are not a victim of your environment. You are an heir to my throne, and I have given you the power to say no to the things that are killing you. I command you to block the voices, the social media accounts, and the physical contacts that lead your mind into the gutter of despair and sin. You have been worried about what people will think if you suddenly change. You are afraid of the awkwardness of ending a toxic friendship or the loneliness that might follow when you stop going to the places where everyone knows your name but nobody knows your soul. But I remind you that the righteous are as bold as a lion because I am standing right behind them. When you take that first difficult, trembling step in faith, I promise that I will pave the rest of the way with my peace. The pain you feel in parting with your sin is a deceptive, temporary sting. It is nothing compared to the massive, overflowing joy of true freedom that is waiting for you on the other side. You have been settling for the cheap, plastic thrills of the world because you have forgotten the taste of my glory. I am asking you to trust me. I see the pressure at your job to compromise your integrity just to fit in with the inner circle. I see the way your friends make you feel small for wanting to live a life that honors me. I am telling you today that I am your inner circle. I am your best friend. I am the one who will never leave you when things get difficult. Take the leap. Walk away from the darkness and run toward the light. I will catch you. I will provide new, healthy relationships that build you up instead of tearing you down. I will give you a career path that doesn't require you to sell your soul. But you must take that first step. Leave the shore of your old, toxic life behind and sail into the vast ocean of my grace. I am offering you a gift today that no amount of money can buy and no worldly success can ever replicate. I am breathing my supernatural peace directly into your lungs. This is not the fragile, temporary peace that the world gives, the kind that depends on a good bank balance or a quiet house. This is a peace that stands firm in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane. I command your anxious, racing heart not to be troubled and not to be afraid. I see the knots in your stomach when you think about the bills, the health reports, and the future of your children. I am reaching out my hand right now to untie those knots. I am setting my peace as a heavy, military garrison to guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. Imagine a fortress with walls so thick that no arrow can penetrate them. That is what I am building around your emotions today. You have been living in a state of constant, low-level panic for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to just breathe. You are constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. You are perpetually on guard, expecting bad news. I am telling you to stand down. I am taking over the watchtower. I am promising you a quiet, sacred resting place for your soul after the years you have spent running in exhaustion. I am filling you with an inexpressible and glorious joy that will bubble up from within you, even when your external circumstances haven't changed yet. This peace is your birthright as my child. I invite you to rest completely in the finished work of Jesus on the cross. You don't have to earn this tranquility. You don't have to be perfect to receive it. You just have to sit in my presence and let me pour it over you. I see the mental fatigue that comes from trying to solve everyone else's problems while your own life feels like it's unraveling. I am telling you that it's okay to let go. My peace is not an absence of trouble. It is the absolute certainty of my presence in the middle of the trouble. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and hear my whisper. Peace, be still. Let those words sink into your marrow. Let them quiet the screaming voices of your critics and the loud demands of your schedule. You are held. You are safe. You are at peace because I am with you, and I will never let go. I am celebrating with you in this very moment, for the dawn is breaking over your life. Can you see the first light of a new day peeking over the horizon? The long, cold night of your struggle is finally coming to a definitive end. I am rejoicing as I watch the heavy chains finally fall off your wrists and ankles. The enemy thought he had you trapped. He thought he had successfully lured you into a tragedy you could never recover from. But he forgot one thing. I am the God of the breakthrough. I am the one who breaks the snare of the fowler. I am the one who makes a way where there is no way. I am welcoming you with open arms as you step out of the dark, suffocating shadow of impending tragedy and into my glorious, life-giving light. You are a survivor, but you are more than that. You are a conqueror through me. I am preparing you right now to share your powerful testimony of deliverance with a world that is desperately hurting. There are people in your life, in your workplace, and in your family who are currently trapped in the same darkness you just escaped. They are looking for a glimmer of hope. I am putting a brand new psalm of praise in your mouth today, not a psalm of I survived, but a psalm of He rescued me. Your story is going to be the key that unlocks someone else's prison door. I am equipping you to walk forward from this day on in victorious, resurrected living. You are no longer defined by your mistakes, your addictions, or the tragedy that almost claimed you. You are defined by my rescue. I am declaring over you right now that the tragedy has been averted. The enemy's plan have been completely defeated. The weapon was formed, but it did not prosper because I stepped in. I want you to feel the weight of that relief. I want you to let the joy of your salvation wash over you like a waterfall. You are stepping into a season of suddenlies, sudden breakthroughs, sudden restorations, and sudden opportunities. Do not walk with your head down in shame anymore. Lift your eyes. You have been delivered by the King of Kings. Walk with the dignity of a child who knows they are loved. The chains are gone. The prison door is wide open. Step out into the sunlight and start living the life I created for you. Your future is not a repeat of your past. It is a brand new masterpiece of my grace. I am sealing this entire conversation with my eternal, unbreakable promise to you. I want you to hear these words and let them become the very foundation of your existence. I will never, ever leave you. I will never, ever forsake you. No matter how many times you stumble in the future, no matter how many storms try to blow you off course, my hand is firmly gripped on yours. I am affirming to you today that absolutely nothing in all of creation, not death, nor life, nor angels, nor demons, nor your present worries, nor your future fears, will ever be able to separate you from my love. You are securely and permanently sealed by my Holy Spirit for the day of your final redemption. Your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life in permanent, heavenly ink. I am shifting your focus today from the temporary, fleeting struggles of this world to the eternal, weightless glory of heaven. This life, with all its pressures and tragedies, is but a vapor. It is a breath in the span of eternity. I want you to live every day with your eyes on the prize. I am already anticipating the day when you will stand before me, and I will look into your eyes with a smile that lights up the universe. I will say to you, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You fought the good fight. You kept the faith. You listened when I called. Now, enter into the joy of your Lord. I am welcoming you safely into my arms, which are your true and eternal home. You are completely saved. You are completely loved. You are completely mine. Carry this conversation in your heart as you go about your day. When the world tries to steal your peace, remember my words. When the enemy tries to whisper lies about your worth, remember my sacrifice. When you feel alone, remember my spirit dwelling inside you. We are in a covenant relationship, a bond that can never be broken. You don't have to fear the big tragedies of life anymore, because I am the master of all things, and I have already won the victory for you. Rest in me. Lie for me. Shine for me. I love you with an everlasting love, and I am with you always, even unto the end of the age. Go in my power, my child. We are walking together from now on. Now that the dawn of your deliverance has broken, and the chains of tragedy have been permanently shattered, I am inviting you to become a conduit of the same living water that has saved your life. You have been rescued from the snare for a purpose far greater than your own comfort. You are called to be a co-laborer in my global harvest of souls. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are literally building the bridge that allows a drowning soul to walk into my light. I speak the word of Luke 6:38 over your life today. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men pour into your lap. Your obedience in giving is the key that unlocks a new dimension of favor over your household, ensuring that the tragedy you left behind can never find its way back to your door. Do not let the enemy whisper that your gift is too small, for in my hands, 5 loaves and 2 fish feed 5,000 and leave a surplus of 12 baskets. I command you to move in faith this very moment. Locate the link in the description, or use the support buttons to seal your breakthrough with a seed of sacrifice. Now that I have poured out my entire heart to you, do not let these words fall like seeds on a hard path to be stolen by the enemy. It would be a heavy grief to me if you received this divine map and then chose to wander back into the wilderness alone. I have called you by name and saved you from a tragedy you cannot imagine. Let your response now be the seal on our covenant. Stay in the light of this truth, for my love has fought too hard for you to let you go back to the way things were. Amen.